p.m. and I call this special meeting of the Red Oak City Council to order. Notice has been duly posted in accordance to the Texas Government Code, Section 551. We do have a quorum present. We have Councilman Brawley, Councilman Goodwin, Councilman Wilson present in the chambers. Councilman Drake and Councilman Franklin are not available. Online, we have several participants and we have other people in the audience. We have two action items to take care of. Item 1 is consider approval of ordinance number 21-045 in the city of Red Oak, Texas, annexing 10.38 acres more or less as described in Exhibit A, which is attached hereto and incorporated herein for all purposes to the city of Red Oak, Texas, and extending the boundary limits of the city so as to include said property within the city limits and granting to all inhabitants and owners of the said property all of the privileges and rights of other citizens, and binding all inhabitants by all the ordinances, acts, resolutions, regulations of said city, providing a service plan and providing which is attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference, providing a severability clause and providing an effective date. Forward.
So this is the IDC's property up on Houston School Road. We've had the public hearings about over the past couple of months. Mr. Hartman, is there anything abnormal? I'm not aware of anything, but speak up if you know of anything.
No, it's all straightforward. Boundary lines are contiguous, and all the classic things we need to annex are there.
And we are only going as far north as the county line, correct?
Correct.
Okay. There's about 2 feet that goes over into Dallas County, but since we have the boundary line agreement, we just cut it off at the county line.
So I assume the owner knows that too?
Ben, you know that?
Pardon?
Do you know that?
We get it all the way to county line.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to make sure the owner was, oh. Then I hit my property, I bet. Back it up.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions?
No question.
Are you familiar with the property that we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 21-045.
So moved.
Councilman Brawley, second please. Second. Councilman Wilson. Those in favor?
Brawley, aye. Goodwin, aye. Wilson, aye.
That passes 3-0. All right, item 2, consider adoption of resolution 21-090R of the City Council of the City of Red Oak, Texas, approving a bid and awarding a contract by and between Lee Park and Play and the City of Red Oak, Texas for the purchase and installation of a playground amount not to exceed $305,920.63 as provided in the pricing quote through Buy Board Purchasing Cooperative as provided in Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein, authorizing the city manager to execute the necessary documents and providing an effective date. Mr. Kelly.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. What we have before us is a playground that we've kind of played around with and looked at some different options for this, what would be best suited, and the area which we selected, which we have discussed before, is going to be between the baseball facility, the park over at Buckins, and really fairly close to City Hall. So with that being said, the size of this playground, $305,000 is a lot of money for a playground. It's it's a 20-plus year investment for us with this playground, and it's gonna depend upon how well that we take care of it. I think with the amount of use that it's gonna get, the 20 years is probably about the max that we would see with this. The size of it, the overall structure is probably about as tall as this room, and the layout is 2.2 times the size of the room in which we're sitting in now. So it's not a little bitty playground. This is a huge playground. The kids that can play on this, it has what's called a kid load, which is how many kids can safely play on this playground at one time, and there's 114 is what it's weighted at. So they measure that based upon the square footage, the size, and the amount of play features in it. And this will include a multi-set swing set. So we've got some regular swings, some lap belt swings. We'll have a swing for what's called a mommy and me, where the mom can get on there and the young toddlers can get on there and they can swing together facing each other and have a little fun with that. And then one of them is a ADA accessible swing that pretty much anybody can use, but somebody that might be bound to a wheelchair or another device will also be able to use that as well. In the middle, we have it's a net climber, which is a really fun piece for kids. It's one of those things that you can go through and do many different things, crawl through the holes, climb through the net. It's a nice thing. It's one of the features that I wanted to see in there. It's something that's just a little bit different than what you'll see on most of the playgrounds that we do. We also have a 2 to 5 year old area, and we also have an area that goes 5 to 12. So this playground covers the entire realm of everything that we would need for a playground. With it, we will do flat work, the sidewalk, which will be a 5-foot width sidewalk all the way around the entire poured-in-place surface. It'll also connect over to the trail over at Watkins Park. So we'll cross the road, we'll do some safeguards and some measures there to protect kids as they go across the road. But we will also have a 4-foot chain link fence around this entire playground, because we don't want any kids breaking free, because we are in an area between a parking lot, there's a driveway in close proximity. So in order to protect the kids, we're gonna have a fence up that's gonna allow them to play freely inside, and that mom can feel safe when she lets the kids loose in there, that they're not gonna be darting out into traffic. We've got shade structures in here that will protect. There's 2 shade structures on the 2 lower pieces you can see here. And we're looking at customizing the central piece to have the City of Red Oak logo on it. That way it will have a customized logo for the City of Red Oak. We have not selected any colors on this playground yet, so that's another thing we can also look at. We did go with just as an initial, just to try to get the colors you here. That is a maroon with a gray and a silver. So there's a city tone in this as well. And I'm going to play a video, and this is going to go through the entire. And it's going to go around and show a little bit of each one of the features. That's the net climber there we just passed. And then going into the swings. But swings do take up a lot of room, because we have to have the accessible space to make sure that
They can launch themselves.
Yeah, if they want to jump, they've got plenty of room to do so. And the entire surface will be poured in place. So it's a surface that is a rubberized surface that will be troweled down, and there'll be different thicknesses in different areas based upon the fall zones to protect the kids.
You know they're gonna try to get that net to catch them.
No, not a chance. We'll give them a good challenge, but it's going to be tough for them to do that. But that's it, pretty much in a nutshell there with the playground. And I wanted to ask to see if anybody had any questions or comments they'd like to make about what we're presenting, and if you see something that you like or don't like in the playground.
Yeah, something. What do you?
Well, mine was more not specific to pieces and stuff. Explain where exactly it's going. Do you have an aerial or something to show where it's going to be sitting?
I do. I have an area. I don't have the aerial, I apologize. If you can imagine when we're going into when we're driving to the back, past where the new city hall is gonna be, well, just before we get onto the gravel road there, going to the back, going towards the baseball and the softball fields. This will be on your right, on the west side of the road, between field number 2, that open field that we have, that's triangulated looking area. So there'll be an open area there, and that's where we'll fit the playground into.
So,
Right.
this room, that one.
It's gonna go from down in here,
Yeah, that's
and run this way, and then go over, and there'll be some drainage coming in here with the program.
I just want to make sure they can see where it is. Right in here.
There's already some underground drainage in there, which will play into our hand with this, because there will be drainage coming from underneath the board-in-place material and all the surfacing around it. So we'll have good drainage for this, that's part of the program. Maintenance on the board-in-place is fairly simple for us. About every 18 months, we'll go in there and do a light pressure washing and a recoat. So that way we reseal it, everything, none of these small pieces will ever have the want to come up, because over time, they're gonna get a lot of wear on them. So essentially, we'll close the playground for 2 days, over a selected period of time in the future. Every 18 months, give it a light washing, let it dry, and then come back and reseal coat the whole project. And we'll do that all in one time. We'll go one way with the first coat, another way with the second, and that'll give us another 18 months. And it also extends the warranty of the product.
Good question.
Yes, sir.
Why chain link, if you're gonna put chain link, you might as well put razor wire on the top. That's how ugly that stuff looks. If we're spending $305,000, can we put a little bit better fence around the thing, you know? It looks.
We put the black covered vinyl chain link or something?
I don't.
Yeah, well, that's where we were going with the black covered vinyl.
Yeah, chain link, so that's pretty.
So you want to see more of a, like a wrought iron type?
I don't know, you know, I'm ready to prove it. With the second question, who's paying for this?
Well, thank you.
This money was actually the money this council, selected to come out of the Parks and Recreation Fund. So I appreciate the offer, but we're trying to come.
That's why he wants to upgrade the fence.
And we can actually look at that. We can see what the cost difference would be between those two.
Yeah.
And then that way we can come back and say, hey, if we wanted to change this over, maybe it's a, $3,000 or $4,000 ad, then we'll just say, hey, we'll either have to make up the difference somewhere, or just ask you for more money.
So, but that fence is not part of this quote.
It is part of the.
Oh, it is.
This is all inclusive.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then that quote also includes the bond. We have to carry a bond on this project because of the cost, so that was added in as well. The playground and all the features around it is roughly $298,000, and then to add the bonding in probably that's $300,000.
What's the material on top of the chain shop?
I actually have our salesman here tonight. This is
No,
Sean Moran.
I was having fun with that, answering questions, but I'll hold it better if we get some. So all the shades, they're made by USA Shades, manufactured here in Texas, actually right here in Dallas. So it'll all be steel structural components. And then the top will be a fabric, basically a UV cloth in the fabric. You said we're between 85 and 98% UV cloth, which really, that helps, the longevity of the equipment, keep the harsh UV ray off. And
So what's the longevity of the fabric?
the fabric will be about 12 years.
So,
Maybe open May.
one thing just to clarify, if we approve it as not to exceed, then it may be difficult to change the fencing because it's done as a not to exceed.
Right.
So if you wanna do something, you know, it'd be better to do it now. As far as I'm concerned, the black vinyl chain link looks nice. I mean, we're gonna have chain link on every one of those ball fields out there anyway.
So that's,
But if we wanted,
it's pretty spectacular when you look at it.
Oh, that's kind of intrigued with that bleacher wire you're talking about.
but,
So the quotes with the black vinyl chain, that's what you're talking with it?
so if you wanted to do something,
Hold it up, really want to go ahead and go.
if you wanted to do something with wrought iron or something else, then we'd need to make a contingency in the, Bob, could we do that by motion?
Yes, you could do it by motion, sorry. I had something in my hand and I only got one, so.
Put the drink down.
So if you wanted to give, you know, go ahead and do the contract, but if you had a specific amount that you wanted to say, if you can get wrought iron for X dollars more, then do that. Then you can do that by motion. Otherwise, we can just approve it as is.
I mean, but we could also come back and add.
Yeah, you can always come back. Yeah. Or go to
So,
ADC.
Find out what it is, but let's go ahead and prove it and ask him how much extra.
Well, we don't, I mean, he's probably not gonna know that, probably not gonna be able to know a dollar amount to increase, so what I ask council to consider is approving as is, and if we need to work on that bid and come back to us and let us, add to that dollar amount or whatever.
Or go to ADC.
Well, that's what I'm.
Yeah. Mayor, you could consider a change order if we use the same contractor, or we could omit the fencing with this contractor and bring back a separate contractor. Either way is fine.
Yeah, I guess my recommendation, make it clear, let's just leave it like this, so. So the current stuff that's in Watkins Park, that won't be removed until this one's placed, correct?
That's correct.
And what's the idea with that, or,
Space.
yeah, that space?
Well, we've got a quote to go back in and redo that space and leave the shade covers as they are, and essentially, we're looking at possibility of proposing like maybe some workout stations underneath there.
Okay,
The swing sets that are underneath there are fairly new, those are pretty recent, I'm not sure what year it was, but just by going in there and inspecting them, they're in very good shape, so, and they're part of the north side, and they could also stay in place, and we could add a few workout stations up in there, configure that to where we had a place for folks that wanted to work out on the trail, like, we have stations put along the trail now that are gonna need to be upgraded sometime in the future. And then with these going in, we could all tie that in together to where we have different workout type components spread out throughout the park and including under the shade.
and I'd probably ask you to at least try to maintain something on that north side, the best that you can. I understand if it's safety issue or rust issue or whatever, it needs to come out, but if those swing sets could stay in there, that's another discussion. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to, adopt resolution 21-090R as presented. Councilman Wilson, thank you.
Second.
Councilman Goodwin. Those in favor?
Raleigh, aye.
Aye. Aye. Wilson. Aye.
Excellent. That's, 3-0. How exciting. So what type of time frame are we looking at?
13 to 15 weeks.
Okay, but we still need to wait for the drainage to get,
Drainage should be done by the time that they get through manufacturing. This will give them the okay to go ahead.
okay,
The one thing that I failed to mention was that by us moving ahead right now and not waiting till the next council meeting, we're also saving 15%. They've had a price increase on all their products because of mainly shipping and other things like that, so
nice job.
So it's not sitting out in the bay with bronze materials on the cartridge.
No, it'll be made here in the old US of A and transported by truck.
Excellent.
And then we'll schedule a date once we know that the manufacturing process is complete.
Excellent.
Mayor, you can get his name.
Yeah, probably so.
Okay, hard for you, does that work?
Yeah, that'd be great. You'll give it to.
Give it to Karen.
This would be good. This would be great. Okay. No other, regular business right now, right? Okay, so, the time is 7:20 and we will go into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551, .071, 551.087, and 551.072. And I think we need Hartman.
Yes, we need Hartman, Lee, and Bob.
Oh, he's a parks guy. Danny?
Oh, yeah, Danny.
Danny's a parks guy, right.
He's always here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming today.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate the support on this, and, like I said, I'll be giving you information upon when it will
I just said a preserve.
All right, we're getting back into, live session,
Recorded session.
recorded session. And are we live?
Yes.
All right. So the time is, 7:38 PM, and we will reconvene back into open session. And, there are not any actions to take.
No action.
No actions. No actions to take, so I'll entertain a motion at 7:39 to adjourn, and then Councilman Wilson went first, I heard him. And second by Councilman Goodwin.
He started doing it again.
Those in favor of going home?
Aye.
Aye.
At 3-0.